for joining us for today, January 12th, 2026, City of Farmington Planning Commission meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Crutcher.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Cametzo.
Here.
Majoris is excused. Manti is excused. Perot.
Here.
Westendorf.
Here.
Thank you very much. Item number 2, approval of the items on the consent agenda from our previous meeting of December 12th, 2025. Do we have any comments, questions, concerns from commissioners or staff?
Motion to approve items on consent agenda, December 8th, 2025 minutes.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
How am I doing? Thank you very much. Approval of the regular agenda. So for tonight, considering that we have some folks that want to speak, I think it'd be responsible of us to reorganize things for traffic flow, if you would agree.
Sure.
So we could move the presentation of the master plan first, and then second, we can do the scheduling of the public hearing. And then third, Parks and Rec master plan review. And number 4 would then become the public hearing for the Parks and Rec. And then our usual business items, kind of one down after that. Do we have any,
We need a motion to do that?
I was saying, I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody disagrees with me, let me know. But,
Need an official motion for that?
yeah.
Official motion as suggested.
Support?
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, let's try and be efficient here tonight. Okay, so for new business, so that moves us to the presentation of the master plan, downtown master plan, and Parks and Rec master plan. Mr. Weber, if you would, please.
Sure. The city is required to update its master plan every 5 years. The Master Plan Steering Committee and its consultant, OHM Advisors, have been working diligently to create the updated master plan based on data collection and analysis and public engagement. At tonight's meeting, the commission will hear a presentation by Jennifer Morris, Rachel Bush, and Justin Sprague of OHM Advisors on the 2025 master plan. Administration then recommends that the Planning Commission schedule a public hearing for the March 9th, 2026 meeting to review any comments on the plan and to direct administration to publish the notice. So with that, I'd invite Jennifer, Rachel, and Justin to come up to the podium and do their presentation.
Thank you, and good evening. As Chris mentioned, my name is Jennifer Morris, and I'm here with Rachel and Justin with OHM Advisors, and we are here to present the findings on the update to the master plan. So we've gone through and reviewed multiple plans up to this point, and this is kind of the culmination. Let's see. Here we go. So here is, let me make sure everyone can see it. Here is our agenda for tonight. So we are going to go through the project overview, which is the background and how we got to this point, what we've learned during that process, and then the plan framework, which is a little bit different from your current master plan, and then next steps would be the implementation and the adoption phase. So we're going to be kind of going back and forth here, so that's why we're all standing up here together. Project overview. So when we started off this project, it was initially just going to be the update to the master plan. And at that time, realized that the downtown plan really needed to be updated, as did the Parks and Recreation plan. So the idea from the city was just to go ahead and update all of the plans together. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the master plan has downtown component and it has a Parks and Recreation component, but there is also a separate downtown plan and there is a separate Parks and Recreation plan. The reason in particular for the Parks and Recreation plan being separate, and I know that we've got the public hearing tonight, is that there are separate rules and regulations for that, and it needs to be adopted and in place by the DNR by February 1st. So hence why we've got a little bit of a different alternate schedule here. Project timeline, as you can see, and I think most of you know, we've been working at this for a year now, little over a year. And these are all of the elements of review that we've gone through. You can see that there's pretty extensive public engagement. We've also had a variety of steering committee meetings. We've had 7 in total. And so the cadence has been that we meet with the steering committee, come up with some concepts, present that back to the public, and it's been a back and forth to make sure that, kind of checks and balances, to make sure that what we're presenting aligns with what the community is looking for. And we are in that plan adoption phase, as I indicated. Project goals. These are not necessarily unusual project goals. These are pretty typical for a master plan. I mean, guiding your future land use in your community, investment in redevelopment, and potentially new development. What I said is, is different is that we have included the Parks and Recreation in this plan, so that's another goal and strategy. And then really the tools for funding. I mean, the most important element of this plan is really the implementation. How do you actually get from the planning phase to actually adoption? What we have learned. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel to go through that.
Good evening, everybody.
Sorry, a little short.
Let me just adjust this to my height. So I'm just going to breeze through this pretty quickly, but the importance of updating your master plan is also observing all of the changes that have happened in your community in the past 5 years. And that starts with demographic data, looking at how the population has shifted in Farmington. It has grown quite a bit. Compared to the state of Michigan and other neighboring communities. So that tells us pretty directly, like, if this rate of growth continues, you may need to add this many housing units per year. And what would those housing units look like? We also included here just the existing land use map to give you an idea of what our starting point is. This is the existing land use that has been in place or came about from the previous master plan update about 5 years ago. And not much is really changing as we'll look at the future land use here in a moment. But ultimately, what we learned from the land use analysis is that you have quite a bit of medium density residential land overall in your community. There's limited industrial or medical employment hubs, and mixed use areas integrate retail, office, and residential. And we'll talk about recreation and open space as well, being an important part of what makes your community have such a great quality of life. And the zoning is also an important component of a future land use plan and a master plan. Jennifer will talk about this more and how those two inform each other in just a moment. But as you can see, there's a lot of zoning categories. So that presents some unique opportunities and challenges that we sought out to solve in this process. We also looked at the types of existing housing units. Not surprisingly, most of the housing units are single family. A number of housing units, however, are 5 to 9 units, which we compared with other communities of a similar size that have a sort of downtown destination component to them. And Farmington had far more of that type of housing than any other of those communities, which is very interesting. The median age of housing is 1967. We're about 50 years out from that, and you start looking at what the next generation of housing looks like and how Farmington can remain competitive in drawing people to live here and age in place here. So we also did a little bit of a deeper dive into the sort of household composition of residents and the population. And there's a lot of people who are single, living or living alone in Farmington. A lot of folks who are couples without children, and they may remain in that household composition in the future. So that provides an important data point for the layout, the floor plan of your housing units. And, you know, maybe you don't need as many 3-bedroom units in your community compared to others. So moving on, community engagement was a huge piece of this process, and it directly informs the ideas and the outcomes of this master plan. So just briefly, we have been doing engagement since about April or May of 2025. There was a community survey, a couple of farmers market pop-ups, 5 focus groups with a number of folks, and then we also held 7 steering committee meetings over the course of the past year. And the other engagement method that wasn't listed on here was, of course, the online resource that was available, the Farmington Forward 2025 website, where we posted all of our findings, our presentations, and that's where you can view the draft plans and leave comments. So I won't do a super deep dive into all of the data. We combed through it. We heard lots of ideas, just trying to understand what the strengths and challenges people might see in Farmington. So for the rest of the presentation, you'll see we've kind of color-coded it. As Jennifer explained, there's this master plan, which we've chosen this blue shade for the downtown plan, which is red, and Parks and Rec, which is green, and they're all integrated, right? So for the master plan key takeaways, we heard a lot about just wanting to see underutilized spaces turned into a more dynamic attraction, preserving Farmington's historic downtown charm is a huge, preserving that identity is really important to the community. We'll talk about connections and walkability in a moment, but safer crossings, pedestrian and bicycle travel, prioritizing that is also super important, and safer road diets, improve visibility for pedestrians and cyclists, and then also promoting a range of housing types so that folks who maybe have lived in Farmington for a long time can then downsize and continue to live in Farmington and allow that next generation to succeed them. For the master plan, we know the city's been working really hard at creating this vibrant downtown destination. People want to see that continued. Of course, not surprisingly, one of the number one topics that comes up when you talk about downtown is parking. So and the city has also recently completed a parking study. So how can the city be more strategic with providing different parking solutions and improving existing parking arrangements for business activity and during events? Entertainment, nightlife, different offerings to activate downtown day and night is super important. And then also integrating that arts and culture piece into the identity of downtown. And finally, Parks and Recreation. We heard from the community engagement process a lot of ideas for better maintenance, improved cleanliness and maintenance, again, enhancing underutilized spaces, perhaps with beautification, landscaping, and public art, activating parks with programming, events, and fitness amenities, adding inclusive recreation options for all ages and seasons, and prioritizing green space, making parks and civic areas more inviting. And with that, we're going to transition into talking about the composition of the plan and the different sections of the plan. So we wanted to provide that background to you so you understand what makes how these plans kind of fit together and how they inform each other. And again, we have three components that make up the master plan, the downtown plan, and the Parks and Rec plan. And I will pass it over to Jennifer to talk about future land use.
Now I, of course, have to lower this again. All right, so the first key component of the plan is future land use. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go through each of the chapters. And I will start with the future land use, and then we will kind of go back and forth and work our way through each of these chapters. So you will notice before I get into this that each of these has a specific cadence. So we're going to start with going through a goal statement, objectives. We'll show you a few maps and kind of help you understand how we arrived at some of these, and then a snippet of the implementation. So that's the cadence for each one of these chapters that we're going to be going through. So the goal statement. I'm sure that everyone would concur that this is what most communities would want to see. And you have this here in your community. So this makes you definitely, the envy of others that, you have this, you've got your historic districts that are, well-maintained and well-loved. You've got great neighborhoods. You've got a thriving downtown. And, kind of your corridors are being revitalized. So, this is, well, I think you've achieved most of this. It's still a good goal to keep up there and to make sure that you keep front and center as you're considering everything going forward. Then the objectives. Some of these objectives are carried over from the prior plan, but one thing that we did as a group was we prioritized. So when we met with the steering committee, we went through each of the existing objectives and identified what is the one that really rises to the top, because when you're talking about implementation, you really want to focus, you want to have some focus. And so by looking at what those key objectives are, that's what we were able to do. And so here, and this aligns perfectly with kind of the scope for our overall master plan analysis, is looking at your corridors and mixed use infill projects, because we have a few focus areas. Some are in the downtown, some are outside of the downtown, that we looked at specifically and did a really deep dive on how those areas could potentially be redeveloped. Another objective is to, obviously to grow and invest in your downtown, identify and enhance your gateways, design standards or guidelines, depending on how you want to look at that, beautification, infrastructure. And then, the key really is that last one, and this is where some of your funding sources come from, is looking at the TIF and brownfield redevelopment opportunities. So when we get to the downtown section, we will look at the other focus areas, but what I just wanted to show you is that these were 4 of the focus areas that we assessed as a steering committee, and then actually tested it at the various engagement sessions. So we've got obviously an entryway coming into the community, and then we have at Orchard Lake, we've got a pretty significant redevelopment opportunity there, both on the north and the south side with the winery. And then the one at Drake is a pullover from the prior master plan, because that's an area that there really seems to be a lot of interest in redeveloping. So we pulled that over from the master plan, but I just wanted to show you kind of the diversity of the areas that we did that deep dive on. Excuse me. Then Rachel was talking about the future land use. So we start obviously looking at existing land use. We look at your prior future land use, and then this is really, in essence, the vision of where do you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years from now. Some of this may not look really any different than what you have right now. I'm not standing in anyone's way.
No, you're fine. Just be mindful of the microphone.
Okay, sorry, I'm trying to, okay. Trying
you.
to make sure I stay close enough to it. So anyway, what I was saying is that it might not look that much different than what you have right now, but one of the key difference is, and you can see them outlined in black, is that those are each the focus areas that we are looking at, and that is one of the key differences between the prior master plan and this particular update. So we've looked at those, and then we did make one tweak in the land use designation, and you'll see the very light yellow is now called legacy residential as opposed to a low density, because those are all your legacy neighborhoods. We thought that was an appropriate term to use. And here's the illustrious zoning plan that, as the steering committee spent a lot of time having so much fun with. So this is actually a requirement of the enabling legislation. You have to have a zoning plan in your master plan. Now, one thing I definitely want to emphasize here is that by including this in your master plan, you are not changing your zoning. All it is doing is it is giving you a guidepost for moving forward. So what the exercise was that we went through with the steering committee is at the top, you've got all your future land use designations. On the left column are all of your existing zoning designations. How do they relate? That's really what the exercise was to look at where would you see one of those zoning designations relating to the future land use category. You'll see, though, that there are a few that are in same color, and then you'll also see some that don't have any X's in them. So some of those that don't have X's, and we've got 3 in total, are because those are areas that we're recommending when we get to the implementation stage, that those are actually considered for elimination, because they're really something that we don't see the need for in the community. But once again, I do want to emphasize that this is just a guideline for moving forward, and this will be what will help you in the implementation phase, kind of that first step. And then this is the culmination of each of these chapters that we're going to be going through, is that implementation matrix. Now, we did not include we included the goal statement, which, as you know, for this category is 1. Then we have actually 4 objectives, but we just wanted to give you an idea of what these implementation matrices look like. So you see you've got your action items, your time frame, and then your project partners. Each of those are also going to be really key when you're talking about implementing this plan. And we will look at each one of these for each of the chapters of the plan, with obviously trying to work in order of time frame. And there might be additional partners as we move along in the process, but that's at least a place to start. So with that, I'm going to move it over to Justin for housing.
Thank you. So housing is a multifaceted topic. There has to be consideration about how do we currently meet our current residents' needs? How do we meet those residents that may want to become a resident of the city of Farmington? And then how do we address changes in demographics and the types of housing that individuals want? As we looked through that, it's important to identify again under objectives to review the zoning standards to encourage that housing development is consistent with preserving the community character. Therefore, we recognize, again, those neighborhoods that we've come accustomed to know, to love, to expect, but also encourage a range of housing types that are attainable, not only for seniors or multifamily, but also multi-generational units. And then support those mixed uses and residential development as we continue to work with our partners, both here at the city, our city council, our planning commission, our downtown development authority, to address those ranges of housing. One of the things that we learned is that while there might not be the demand for more apartment units, there is a higher demand for lease units. And that's not something that is a detriment to this community, but the data has shown that over the last year that those residents that have moved within the boundaries of the city of Farmington or from Oakland County into the city of Farmington, 33% of them have opted for a lease option. The lease rates were high, in most instances higher than most mortgages paid, but we have to recognize that as we change sort of the way that we think about housing within the community. So again, that doesn't mean more apartment complexes. It doesn't mean more division of our traditional neighborhoods, but recognizes that even within the current existing conditions, those are the conditions that people have sought. And similarly to what Jennifer just presented, we do have an implementation matrix for housing
that recognizes a number of action items to accommodate housing, both for rehabilitation of existing housing, development of new housing, specifically in the downtown areas, as well as preservation of our existing community characteristics. Looking at our downtown, this was a piece that has been a long focus of the city of Farmington. Recognizing that you have a space where all spokes, all roads, whether it's Farmington Road, Grand River, 9 Mile, Orchard Lake, or otherwise, centralize around your downtown. People are coming through your downtown. And so how do we accommodate that? How do we take advantage of that to ensure that our residences and our businesses are getting the best unique experience that they need to thrive, but also accommodate those that are coming to our community, specifically for the experience that we have here. I try to liken it to the space that we're trying to give a hug. Anytime people talk about downtown, they talk about Ferndale, they talk about other communities across Michigan, whether it's Milford or Rochester. We're not trying to be them, but the common theme of residents and people that visit those places is they feel like when you go downtown, something is hugging you, saying you belong here, you're welcome here. We have services that you may want to do business with. We may have places you want to shop. And we want to continue to provide that feeling to downtown Farmington without following the mold of what others have done. Let's do it our way. Let's make it work for us. But that's what we're trying to accomplish. A strong, vibrant downtown that is culturally diverse, social and economic heart of cultivating a diverse mix of business, housing, and attractions and public spaces. And one thing that I would throw into that is also a service to our residents. The primary objective is to continue to promote infill where appropriate that adds missing middle and multifamily housing options in and around the downtown, but also helps to attract a diverse dining, entertainment, and nightlife and retail offerings. A space that people want to be a part of, where they're not just coming in at 9 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 5 p.m. We have lots of events. The farmers market brings tons of individuals to downtown. All of those individuals are spending their money in downtown, helping to support our businesses and help our businesses thrive, while also providing an opportunity and a desire for people to be here. That's the important piece of the downtown, and our Downtown Development Authority is an integral part of that and is doing lots of yeoman's work to make that happen in conjunction with our city council and our planning commission. But we also want to make sure that we have a forward momentum when it comes to our blighted areas, our green spaces, continuing the progression of filling in those holes or those gaps where they exist, but doing it in a manner that supports our community, that recognize our community strengths and our community character. And I believe that's the path that we've set you forward on, not now, but through the entirety of this process, going all the way back to the early 2000s when this community made this a priority. We are just helping you to understand where we can continue to find those tools of support to ensure that you continue on that mission. Lastly, we want to be able to enhance our downtown's pedestrian environment, as well as modernize our parking to balance future growth. So we don't want to build something here just because we can build it here. We want to build it here to make sure that our pedestrians, as well as those that are coming in by vehicle, have the place to participate. So we don't want something that is going to overpark. We don't want something that's going to underpark. We want to make sure that we have access for those that are going to come in by bicycle or have access challenges. We want to make sure that they have the same opportunity to participate in our downtown as everyone else. So with our downtown, we had several different focus areas, and a number of these have carried over from previous planning efforts, but we wanted to make sure to let you know that not all of these may be developed in the next 2 years. They may not be developed in the next 5 years or even 10 years, but these are the areas of importance to downtown. So we have the downtown center, where we currently have a major surface parking lot. We have the TJ Maxx parking lot. We have the City Hall Community Campus. We have an affordable complex here. We have additional spaces here that are underutilized. As I said, it's, yes, sir. Say at the microphone, I apologize. Can do.
Better listen to him, he's meaner than he looks.
Can do. So as I reiterate, it doesn't mean that all of these have a developer now, or that they may have a developer in the next 5 years. But the city, the Downtown Development Authority, has prioritized these spaces as spaces that are underutilized, and with the right support, with the right partnerships, can improve that sort of culture of our downtown and that hug that we're looking to achieve. Lastly, as with every other chapter, we do have an implementation matrix for downtown. Every single one of those focus areas have identified specific tasks with specific individuals and specific timelines to help achieve those results. And we're just really excited at the number of opportunities we've had to work with every individual that has come to these input sessions with the DDA and their commitment with the Planning Commission, the steering committee, because we would not have gotten to those implementation strategies without that input. And I will turn it back over to Rachel.
Thank you. So connections and walkability has been an interesting progression throughout this process. You look at the last master plan update. Yes, it has future land use planning. It has focus areas. The laws changed. Now you have to have a housing plan. You have to have a zoning plan. There is no true requirement that you look at transportation networks or non-motorized connectivity in your community through the master planning process. However, what we heard loud and clear through community engagement was that this is a very important subject for this community. We asked at the first public open house that we had at the farmers market back in May of last year, what is the number one thing you would like to this master plan to focus on? And the top response was safer, more connected Farmington. And if you think back to the key takeaways that we saw from community engagement, a lot of those topics overlap with each other and talk to each other. And within the master plan, the downtown plan, and parks and recreation, connections and walkability is a core theme. So we opted to create its own section, its own chapter in this master plan. So the goal statement is a community with safe and efficient connections, creating a walkable and accessible network of streets, trails, and pathways. Of the objectives, the top primary objective is to enhance the sidewalk network and expand bike paths, closing non-motorized gaps, and improving access to downtown parks and neighborhoods. And that's very important. I'll bring this objective up again in a little while. We also heard loud and clear prioritizing safety improvements at key intersections, improving the pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure citywide through road diets, protected lanes, and wayfinding signage. And also incorporating universal design principles in future development to support folks who may have challenges with access and mobility. Something else that the city has been working on since 2022 is participating in what's known as the 9 Line. It is a almost 30-mile trail that will connect all of the communities along 9 Mile Road across Oakland County. It will connect users to the I-275 Metro Trail and the ITC Corridor Trail in neighboring communities. And that is in itself a huge economic development opportunity. Folks love to, use recreation, ride their bikes, go for a walk, take advantage of a nice evening or afternoon to go get ice cream, go grab a beer, visit a new restaurant, things like that. And finally, coordinating with your neighbor, Farmington Hills, to create a seamless non-motorized network. So So this is where I would love to move away from the microphone, but I can't. And I apologize that this map may be hard for folks to see because of the colors and the weight of the lines. Do you want the microphone?
There's one over there that's a handheld one.
Oh, yes, I would. So much. Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Great. Cool. So I'm just gonna point at the screen and guide you through what you're looking at because it's a lot of spaghetti. It's a lot of lines. So we looked at a lot of these facilities that kind of come to the Farmington boundary and then they don't progress anymore. So one of the key objectives is to close those gaps. And so that's part of our suggestion, as you'll see on Shiawassee, and kind of tying these opportunities like a path that you could walk or bike on Orchard Lake Road to be able to hook up to Shiawassee and connect to the park. There is a connection from Shiawassee Park to downtown that is very small, but it is shown on this map as well. There are crossing improvements that the Pathways Committee has been working on. Those are reflected in this map. There are closures to the gaps in the sidewalk network shown here. And ultimately, one of our goals was to make sure that wherever you live in Farmington, you have access to a network that will take you north-south or east-west. And in particular, it will take you to the 9 line, which would allow you to perhaps ride your bike to South Lyon and go to their farmer's market if you'd like to, or ride your bike to Ferndale and visit a new restaurant that you've been wanting to try. So, what should I do with this now? Back to this mic. We went segment by segment from this map, and we did a really fun analysis. I promise you, I'm such a transportation nerd, and I love doing stuff like this. So we looked, and I know it looks like just a bunch of symbols right now, but we looked at, does it connect to downtown? Does it connect to other communities? Does it provide a safer access to a school? Was in the second round of engagement, was this a segment that was identified as a priority by the community? So we basically went through segment by segment, did this analysis, and gave each segment a score. And based on that number, if it's between 4 to 6, that can be considered a high priority for the city to, it basically gives them some direction of which segments to prioritize first. So we created this guide in addition to the implementation matrix, which again, it breaks down, here's your objective, here are all of the actions that will help you accomplish this objective, at what time frame it's happening in, and who those project partners might be. And now for the fun stuff. Parks and Recreation is, as Jennifer mentioned, it is required by the DNR to update your Parks and Recreation plan every 5 years and submit it to the DNR if you'd like to be considered eligible for grant funding from the state. So as I was saying with the connections and walkability section, it's not required to include a Parks and Recreation chapter in your master plan, but the Parks and Recreation plan has its own set of guidelines. So the key difference is that the expanded version of the Parks and Recreation plan, the DNR has its own set of requirements of data, chapters, things that you need to look at to form the foundation of your Parks and Recreation plan. So that is like the full extended version of the plan. In the master plan itself, we include the goal statement, the objectives, the implementation matrix, and then the park-specific action plan. So it's kind of like the reduced version is included in the master plan. And again, all these chapters talk to each other. The goal statement for the Parks and Recreation Plan is a community with active, inclusive, and accessible parks and recreation opportunities that enhance quality of life, support community gathering, and promote health and wellness. And the interesting part of the objectives is that the steering committee actually selected 2 priority objectives for this plan. One, prioritizing that parks and recreation facilities are well maintained and offer appropriate facilities to meet changing community needs, but also that folks have a safe way to get to the parks, to walk to the parks and bike to the parks should they choose to. So again, mobility and parks and recreation, they're kind of talking to each other there. There's also, deliver inclusive and evolving recreation programming with your partner in doing so, Farmington Hills, strengthening organizational capacity, fiscal responsiveness, and strategic alignment to ensure effective delivery and stewardship of parks and recreation. This is what the implementation matrix looks like. And then park by park, there is a matrix that kind of walks you through, what some improvements to Drake Park might be, what objectives that improvement supports, the time frame, and the project partners or the responsible party for implementing that. And since we last met with the Planning Commission, we met with them on December 8th of last year. The public comment period has been open and the Parks and Recreation Plan has been posted on the project website for review. We've received comments, so thank you for submitting your comments. And what we wanted to be clear about with the Planning Commission was that there are 3 concepts that will be added to the Parks and Recreation Plan, which are not new by any means. It's the Warner Mansion concept, the Shiawassee Park Connector Pathway, and the Civic Theater concept. So, we come to you tonight to have this public hearing and to ask for your recommendation to City Council, knowing that it's under the condition that the plan that has been available for public review will be updated with these 3 concepts, and then also changes based on the public comments that we've received and what we hear tonight. Great. I'll pass it back over to Jennifer.
Lower this again. Okay, next steps. So this is actually the end of the presentation here. And we've got 2 slides that we're going to go through. First, the adoption phase, and then the implementation phase. So tonight, after this meeting, the Planning Commission will decide whether they're going to formally open the public review period. Don't ask me why it's 43 days. The state said for an amended plan, it needs to be available for the public for 43 days. Very odd number, but that's the requirement. So that would be what the Planning Commission would be ultimately doing tonight. And then also scheduling the public hearing. I think that was referenced in Chris's intro at the beginning, so that would be on March 9th. And then you're also required to inform a set list of municipalities and entities. It includes some of the utilities, the road commission, various other county, state agencies. So that would be part of that next step after tonight. And then to kind of wrap up that adoption process, you would then, after the public hearing, you would adopt and then forward to City Council just for their consideration, basically for them to just place on file. But you would be the adopting body. So that is the adoption phase. And then implementation. So obviously, after the plan is adopted, then comes some more fun work. So then we actually get to figure out, how we are going to fund some of these prioritized improvements. So we use this as a guideline for, as I mentioned previously, one of the key things is to update your zoning ordinance. So that would be one of the next steps that you could look at. Also, when you have a development that comes in, we talked about a variety of these focus areas. That's something that can be utilized then also for them as a starting point when they're looking at developing a property within the community. But one thing that we definitely emphasize, and we've mentioned it here, is that you want to still continuously go back and reevaluate the goals and objectives and the implementation that you've included. As you've checked things off the list, then obviously, if you check off a considerable number of items, then maybe you want to consider amending your plan. But just continuously going back on an annual basis and just making sure that what you've included still makes sense for the community. And, then after 5 years, you have to do a formal reevaluation of your plan. 10 years would be another readoption. So that is really what we wanted to present to you this evening, and open it up for any discussion that you may want to have now before potentially taking action on some of those next steps.
All right. Thank you very much. Very thorough as always. Do we have any, for the OHM staff, commissioners, do we have any comments or questions of what's been presented tonight? Or Chris?
Nope.
All right.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we go back to what were those 3 additional concepts that were added? I know there's Warner Mansion and the 2 others. Okay, Shiawassee Park and Civic Theater. Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions or comments from staff or commissioners, do we have so one of the homework items that we have is scheduling the public hearing for the master plan for in March. Do we have a motion to set that public hearing?
A motion to schedule a public hearing for City of Farmington 2025 Master Plan for the March 9th meeting, 2026.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And then our new number 3 is the 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan Review and Recommendation. Chris?
Before we do that, I just want to make sure Crusher made the motion, and was it Westendorf that supported?
Yes.
Excuse me, just one thing. Can you also, in your motion, or have a second motion, that you open up the 43-day public review period?
Do we have a motion?
So I'll make the motion to open up the
43-day.
43-day public review period.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, our new number 3, 2025 Parks and Rec Master Plan Review and Recommendation.
The Planning Commission discussed and reviewed the City of Farmington 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan at the December 8th, 2025 meeting and scheduled the required public hearing. The requested action of the Planning Commission at tonight's meeting is to hold the required public hearing as scheduled and noticed. Comments will be accepted both by the public attending and the public hearing and through advance submission to administration included via the city's website. So it looks like we have a lot of people here that would like to make comment. There is a comment sign-up sheet that is located over there. If you'd like to make a comment, I'd ask you to fill out your name, address, and contact information on that sheet, and then approach the podium with any information you'd like to do. And before that happens, we need a motion to open the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing of the 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to make a public comment, if you could fill out the sheet and approach the podium up here.
Guess I was nominated to go first. My name is Brian Axe. I live at 25325 Crown Point Court in Farmington Hills.
Could you, I'm sorry, repeat that?
25325 Crown Point Court, Farmington Hills. I'm here on behalf of South Farmington Baseball and Softball. I serve on their board as a function of the scheduler. It's a volunteer position. I also have 3 kids in the league, 12, 10, and 8. And so I'm pretty invested in the league, both as a parent and as a volunteer. So I'm going to give you some numbers, and I'm a scheduler, so that's a little nerdy, but at least it'll tell you how we utilize the fields in Farmington, and hopefully that you can consider that as you look at this moving forward plan. We have 2 leagues. They run in the spring, April to June, and a fall league that runs August through October. 8 divisions. And we schedule activities 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. We try to limit 1 activity on the weekend, on the weekdays, and 2 per field on the weekends, based on availability of daylight and field wear. There are 28 fields in the city of Farmington and Farmington Hills that we use, and 8 of them are at Founders, which are largely occupied by private groups, and we don't really get access to those very often, so we're limited to the other 20 fields. And we can put about 4 teams on 1 field. That's about our capacity. So we size our league based on that of capacity, so 1 field can house about 4 teams. In 2024, we scheduled 642 events in the spring and 473 in the fall, so it's about 1,100 practices and games for our community using those 20 fields. And in 2025, we scheduled 806 in the spring, which is an increase of 25%, and 542, which is a 15% increase in the fall, up to about 1,300 events between practices and games. So we're here specifically, I'm talking about the Drake Complex because that's on your moving forward plan. And that complex is heavily used by all our divisions, all the way from T-ball all the way up to our oldest division, which is up to 9th grade baseball. And losing that complex, either in part or in full, would really impact our league. We put through 23% of our games through that complex. And so that's a lot of our total league. If we were to lose access to that complex, that's a big impact to our community because we would then have 23% less capacity for our residents and their children. So another key aspect to the Drake complex is Drake, the large Drake field is the only lighted field in the city of Farmington. Farmington Hills has, CP2. There's another one at City Park, but those are the only 2 lighted fields in the whole city of Farmington Hills. And so that really limits our activities of evenings because we have to funnel through one of those 2 games if it is post the sun going down, which happens a lot in the fall because it gets dark really early. So we really depend on those 2 fields, and losing that access at Drake would really impair our ability to have games because we only have 1 field that has lights. So with those 2 considerations, the fact that we have about 23% of our games going through the Drake complex, and it's one of the 2 lighted fields in the city, I'm really considering the council to reconsider their plan for modifications to the Drake complex to make sure that our baseball league and softball league that is really servicing a lot of kids, and I'm sure somebody's going to talk later about how many kids are in the league, but there's a lot, and we're growing a lot, and I would really like to be able to continue that growth with the baseball and softball league. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have to do one of those things too. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Danielle Bonney. I'm here as a proxy to represent Kevin Bonney, the president of South Farmington Baseball and Softball, who could not be here this evening. I'm also here as a parent representing other South Farmington baseball and softball families, and the hundreds of families that depend on the parks and rec fields in our city. We want to be very clear about the message. We're not here to halt progress or argue against development. We support investment in our park system, whether that means new parks, updated facilities, playgrounds, additional recreational opportunities for our community. The request is simply that this progress does not come at the expense of the baseball and softball fields that are already maximized, as Brian pointed out, and heavily used throughout our season. Removing existing fields, particularly Drake Park, would be detrimental to the growth, development, and long-term sustainability of our league. The numbers do tell a compelling story. Since 2021, South Farmington baseball and softball has experienced consistent and significant growth, averaging 18% annually. We've grown from 615 participants in 2021 to more than 1,200 players in 2025. This is sustained organic growth driven by families who want structured, community-based sports for their children. That growth requires field access. Every team needs space to practice and play. If we reduce the number of available fields while participation continues to rise, the outcome is unavoidable. Overcrowded schedules, limited practice time, fewer teams, and eventually families being turned away. That would directly conflict with the city's goals of inclusion, youth development, and healthy recreation. Our fields are also create value beyond the game itself. We've built strong partnerships with local Farmington businesses that sponsor our teams and help us provide equipment for our players. In return, those businesses see increased traffic during the season, proudly display jerseys and team signs, and foster a sense of community pride. These relationships benefit families, businesses, and the city as a whole. It's also important to recognize that once a field is removed, it is rarely replaced. The cost and difficulty of restoring that space in the future far outweighs the benefit of preserving it today. We respectfully ask the city to work collaboratively with us, not to stop development, but to plan it thoughtfully. By retaining fields we rely on and exploring opportunities to add additional fields within Farmington and neighboring communities, we can continue to meet growing demand, strengthen our local economy, and ensure that thousands of children have the opportunity to play, learn, and grow. Thank you for your time and for your continued support of youth sports in our community.
Danielle, can you say your address as well? Name and address.
21185 Sunnydale Street, Farmington Hills.
Thank you.
My name is Brianna Sailing. We're at 25544 Brookview Street, Farmington Hills. I'm here with my family today to implore you to not transition the fields away from softball and baseball. As a parent of 3 kids who are active in many sports, there are currently no offerings that compare with what South Farmington softball and baseball are doing for our kids. The landscape of youth athletics has changed so drastically over the last couple decades, pushing kids and parents away from affordable, productive, local community offerings in favor of costly leagues that require travel and high levels of commitment and dedication. It's forced parents and our community kids to become disenfranchised, and it's preventing kids from exploring athletics that give them a support system close by. When we remove local athletic opportunities and access specifically like South Farmington baseball and softball, you remove dedicated coaches who help build up our kids. You remove the opportunity for Farmington youth to interact and forge bonds, and you disable them to support their ability to support kids outside their daily peer groups. These fields have been home to 17 different teams so far for 3 of my kids, and they're just getting started. The local fields have provided them with fitness, friendships, losses that build character, wins that inspire, and coaches that become trusted adults that they can turn to. For so many of these kids, this league and these local fields are their only outlet from the digital world, a break for them and for a place where their parents can afford to take them and make it after their busy work days. Baseball fields are so ingrained in our community, and I can't think of many places or many things that really bring the community together like baseball. Kids playing in the streetlights, or kids playing until the streetlights come on, kids joining a pickup game and getting lost in the simplicity of the dirt and grass fields. To quote the great James Earl Jones from The Field of Dreams, the constant through all the years has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers, but baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past. It reminds us of all that once was good and what could be again.
My name is Maxwell Mahalski. I am a third-generation Farmington resident and a second-generation South Farmington baseball player. Baseball has always been more than a game. It's a classroom, a mentor, and a safe place for kids. On this field, kids learn discipline, teamwork, and respect. They learn how to win with humility and lose with grace. These are lessons that will last a lifetime. For many young people, especially today, a baseball field is a positive alternative to screens, isolation, and negative influences. It gives them structure, physical activity, and a sense of belonging. It brings families together, builds community pride, and creates memories that shape who us kids become. Removing one of our fields doesn't just take away grass and dirt, it takes away opportunities. Once a field is gone, it is rarely replaced. Keeping the fields that we have is an investment in our youth, our community, and our future. I urge the city to keep our field, not remove it. Let's choose to support us kids, persevere, a proven positive outlet, and let's keep a place where character is built one inning at a time. Thank you.
Did you write your address down on the sheet? It's on there, okay.
How you guys doing tonight? My name's Matt Oshansky. This is my son Levi. This is my other son Sawyer. Drake. Yeah, it's, you'll hear the same things over and over and over again from everybody here. But who's actually here in favor of the field being changed? Could you raise your hand for me? Well, that was weird, huh? 0. You guys, has any of you played baseball growing up? Do you have kids that play baseball or any sports or anything like that out there right now? Sports are expensive. Football leagues, travel leagues. I mean, right now I'm looking at a travel baseball league because I don't know if we're gonna have fields to play in an angle. Travel league's $2,500 a kid. South Farmington's $250. He's a coach. She's a coach. They're coaches. I'm a coach. I'm a new coach. I'm new to this. I'm one of the new ones. I'm the fireball in the whole group. All right. You guys, not you, but y'all, everybody in general, want to change this for a cricket field. Is that what I heard? Or a cricket field and some exercise equipment. You know, there's exercise equipment a block away from me, and nobody's ever used it. They built it. It's beautiful. It's green. It's got concrete. Really awesome fake grass. Nobody's on it. Cricket fields are everywhere. They can rent a cricket field. They don't even have to pay for them. They just show up. They take the field and they play. We're an organization. We're a family. We're a community. It's pretty cool. You guys should come out and play baseball with us. Trying to get an adult league, Joe, going on this year. Have you ever played pickleball? Have you ever played cricket? It's not as fun as baseball. You know, it's kind of upsetting to hear that we're going to lose one of our greatest fields because we only got a few. Even though Brian said there's more out there, but there's not any like that. Most of the other fields are kind of beat up. There's no lights. Not really taken care of too well. You know, a lot of us will go out during the baseball season and rake these fields, make sure these fields are maintained so we can play this game. And we're going to lose one of the major fields of the city? For what? Nobody here even wants it. Seems kind of redundant to me. But you guys got anything to say? What about you? No? You just want me to speak, huh? I really hope you guys consider it, because it's not just the adults that really are going to have a problem and going to suffer. It's all these kids that are really going to have an impact, because there's no other open leagues that we can go to. Livonia doesn't do them. We can go downriver. That's 40 minutes away. I can't drive 40 minutes away. My baseball field's 6 minutes from my home. I changed my entire work schedule the entire year I use PTO and overtime to make sure I'm to practices, to make sure I'm to games, to make sure these kids have a good baseball, you know. It's kind of heartbreaking, you know. So just think about it before you put a cricket field in, that what's going to happen. It's going to impact a lot more than what we realize. Pickle, court, cricket, all the same thing, right? All right, I appreciate y'all.
Matt, you fill out the card. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charles Bridges. I live at 23595 Wesley. I also coach South Farmington, and my kids play. But when I told my son when I was coming here tonight and telling him the reason for this, my son said, "Oh yeah, I can see why they'd want to put a cricket field in. Like, you go in that park on a Sunday, and it's obvious, okay, Saturday, Sunday. Now, we need the baseball fields. So I just think that we need to kind of put our heads together and think about how we could accommodate both. So in my other, I also coach cross country at Farmington High, and I know one of the cross country fields we use is in Rochester, and they have an area at one of their parks. The name will come to me as soon as I walk away from here. And they've got dedicated hours that you play cricket. And they've got an area dedicated, so that's, the hitting area, and they've got some turf over there. So that they sort of, figuring out how that they can accommodate the various uses of the limited land that they have. So in Farmington, I know how limited we are. I hope that we don't have to, and we're tight for fields, and the sport has really grown since the pandemic, and it is really cool. And we are a rec league, which is a really cool thing. So you really can't afford to lose the fields and keep what we have and keep that growing, but we also can't deny the change in the community. So I just think we need to work together and figure out how we can do that. So let's kind of put our heads together. Thank you.
I could ask, did you fill out the comment?
I did. Good evening. My name is Ben Peterson, and I'm the commissioner for the South Farmington Softball League. So first of all, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. So I've been involved with South Farmington for 6 years now, both from a coaching standpoint and as a board member. Frankly, I'm very proud of the partnership that the city of Farmington and Farmington Hills has had through the years with the South Farmington League. As you can see tonight, there's obviously a lot of interest. And then throughout the community, we constantly hear stories of, I used to play for the Tigers, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Phillies, et cetera, right? So everybody's got a direct connection back to this league, whether they played in it or just know kids who have participated in it through the years. I think the number one most important thing that we've got to consider as we look at this, we continue to see year-over-year growth in registration from both the baseball and softball side of it. Brian mentioned some of the numbers that we're seeing just in the years in the 5-6 years now that I've been involved with it. We see on average about 15% growth year-over-year. It might even be slightly higher than that. Look, this is a sport that develops essential teamwork and leadership skills that happen outside of school and happen outside of the neighborhoods that they're in. They're put together with kids from all across Farmington and Farmington Hills. The kids can develop rivalries and get to know each other on and off the fields a little bit. And so it really creates a bigger sense of community as the kids age and see each other year over year. I showed up a little bit late tonight, but when I did show up, we're right in the middle of the presentation about the inclusiveness and how we're going to continue to bring the community closer together, more opportunities for the kids, and this seems to directly conflict that as we look at potentially having an impact on the most important residents of our cities. Obviously, the kids are being involved by this. So, look, all we ask is that let's work together and figure this out. I don't think it's a matter of either or, right? Let's work together and figure it out. I don't think anybody sitting here is looking to have a negative impact on the kids as far as being able to limit the leagues and not allow for some of the residents of this city to be able to participate moving forward. Let's work together and figure it out. We've had a very strong partnership for way longer than I've been involved. So let's keep that momentum going and figure out how to make this work for everybody involved. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Kaderka. I live at 33512 Argonne Road in Farmington Hills. My question is, what's wrong with Farmington? Is there something wrong that I didn't know about? You had the presenters up here. They did the study. They admired all the great characteristics about the town. It's a plan. It's not a required change. So why are we thinking something has to change? Nothing has to. You want to add some more sidewalks, you want a bike path. By the way, I don't know any human being in this town that's going to bike to Ferndale, but okay. There's no required change. So why do we look at it this way? The agency presented the recommendation, and they talked about things that keep drawing people to Farmington. We have the farmers market, we have the ice skating rink right now. We have pretty favorable parking, right? Our town's free, a lot of towns aren't. What about baseball? Why does nobody realize that that is a huge draw? It's not just the 1,100 kids, it's the families. My one kid plays. The 5 other parts of our family show up and watch the games. It's a lot more than just 1,100. We did mention finishing that point, there's nothing wrong with it. We don't need to change anything. A little bit related to that, when we say about, what's drawing people to our town, I guess it's related. What is it that you're trying to draw differently? What is it that's wrong about us that are drawn to baseball, to the community? Why do we feel the need we have to change to draw different people, more people? It's pretty dense. We're pretty good. I don't know what is wrong with us and why we need to attract more. On a side note, it was mentioned businesses. As you can see, Sliders supported us. All of the teams are supported by local businesses. And putting in a fitness field, I don't know if Fitness 19 really loves that idea. Why are we offering free fitness when businesses want to offer that service? So I don't know. I don't know what we're doing wrong. Last thought is, it was mentioned about Saturday and Sunday and seeing the use with cricket playing. Anybody ever see a kid play cricket? I haven't, because kids don't play cricket. Adult men get together and play cricket. And no offense to adult men who need to exercise a little bit more, but why aren't the kids the priority? Why are we somehow concerned about a group that, again, is not paying to rent the fields, and we are, and a group that's not including children? The dads are out there with the kids. It's about family. It's about community. There's nothing wrong with our community. I don't know why we're trying to change it.
David, did you sign the card?
Good for you.
Anyone else? Call for one more round. Anyone interested? And then would close the public hearing.
Yeah, we'll ask everyone in attendance tonight if anyone else is interested in speaking on, quite honestly, any part of the Parks and, or what was presented tonight in the master plan, including Parks and Recreation.
And then I have some comments to read into the record that we received online.
All right, seeing no other hands. Chris?
Just some other comments we received online. The pathway at Shiawassee Park needs to be paved. It should be maintained in the winter and is currently unusable during the freeze-thaw cycle because of the mud. I don't think it should have a barrier-free rating of 3 because the paved pathway has ruts and is maintained very frequently. Next comment, you cannot eliminate one of the baseball fields at Drake Park. With our growing SFBI program, we do not have enough fields as it is. The Indians can go play cricket somewhere else. We should not cater to part-time residents of the city that live in the apartments. Next comment, great looking plan. I am curious as to why the Hawk, the Caustic Center, William Grace Dog Park, and Woodland Hills Park are excluded from pages 36 to 38. Thanks. Next comment, Gazebo Park should be the gateway public space to help with development further down on Grand River. It should not be abandoned. Really, it just needs the shrubs removed to open it up, followed up with some new landscaping. Next comment, the Farmington Golf Course is a great facility that's very difficult to use because it requires a phone call to book. It is time to upgrade to an online system. Next comment, I strongly support the Shiawassee Park action of improving the connection between the park and downtown. The staircase and bridge are creepy and don't feel like a safe place currently. Would love to see it opened up further with an amphitheater for community events. I'd also like to see something done to prevent all the cars from driving around inside the park or parking next to the pavilion when people hold private events there. Happens pretty frequently during the summer and makes the park feel less safe. Next comment. Wow, what a forward-thinking plan. Love more restaurants, housing, use of all for all. Questions, ideas. Why develop so much on Grand River, repurposing big old mall across from the relocated ZAP zone for housing, not develop Grand River and Power Corner. Please go sit there and watch traffic. It is a huge traffic jam for sorrows. 98% commuter students, 200 cars twice daily, plus high school traffic as well as cars run through red light at Grand River. Can't imagine it more population increase in that area. Where is the switchback ramp system proposed in Shiawassee Park from downtown? Removal of stairs, etc. Insurance company kitchen masters, longtime business, but take up ideal space downtown, offer incentives to move them, better parking for their clients, bring in new fun shops, eateries, etc. in those covered center downtown spaces. Must install flashing crosswalk apparatus in many high traffic areas, frightening to watch pedestrians as we stop, but can tell other direction is not paying attention. Uptown Plaza is too condensed. You are demolishing Bell Tire, vet office, Wendy's, etc. This area cannot handle that much development in those few blocks. Again, build all this at the old defunct mall. Love use of winery area, a gem awaiting a new life for decades. Apologize if I did not study the entire plan well enough. Happy to serve on committee. Feel free to reach out. What's that?
We all just say our name and say where we live. Are these supposed to be anonymous?
Yes. Well, Beth.
They're all going to be in the file. You can come in and look at any of these records. They have to be filed on file with the city. So no, they're not anonymous.
They're not anonymous.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I went to review the plan, but the link doesn't work. Show me a red ask admin message. Thanks. Next comment, parks either require restrooms or current restrooms should be available for hours beyond current availability, which is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Consideration should be given to those that may desire to use the new fitness courts during these times and or others that may be walking, running early in the morning or later at night. Has consideration been given to utilize some types of programming to increase the use of the fitness courts? What level of use has been measured? Frankly, I have seen little use. 3, as Flanders Park has no parking other than limited street parking, thought must be given as to how to increase use by the families that live in the Meadows and Oaks, plus attract others via walking or biking. What about placing the pump track here in the open center by the fitness court rather than in Shiawassee Park? Or install other recreation activities that will support the older children and teens. I agree that the addition of trees will enhance the space, but I would strongly encourage that they be placed on the perimeter of the walking path, keeping the center open for the pump track or other activities. Next question, while I appreciate the growing interest in cricket and understand the need for dedicated space, I'd like to highlight the significant value Drake Field brings to South Farmington Baseball League and our community. Drake Field is our primary field for several reasons. Lighting, it is the only lighted field, full-size field we rely on for evening games, which is essential for scheduling flexibility. Spectator capacity, the large area accommodates families and fans, creating a great atmosphere for players and supporters. and age group needs for our 7th through 9th grade teams. Drake Field is the only option that meets size and quality requirements. Losing these fields would leave us without a suitable venue for these players. While Shiawassee Park 2 does have lights, its smaller size and limited space for spectators make it a secondary choice for league games. I fully recognize the importance of providing space for cricket. However, converting Drake Field, a lighted, high-capacity baseball field, may not be the best solution. If a cricket pitch is needed, perhaps one of the smaller, non-lighted fields could be considered instead. These fields are less critical to the baseball league and would minimize the impact on existing programs while still supporting cricket's growth. Thank you for considering this perspective. I understand the city's goal is to ensure that both sports can thrive without compromising the experience for the residents who rely on these facilities. And those are the comments received online.
All right, thank you very much. I'll do one last call for the room. If anyone has any comments or anything they'd like to about the presentation that was presented for the city's overall master plan or to include the Parks and Recreation.
Did you fill the card out?
I will. As soon as I'm done. My name is Brittany Linville. I am the Director of Uniforms for South Farmington Baseball. This past year, I was in charge of getting all of the sponsors throughout the city. So in the Fall League, we had 10 different businesses, local businesses, support the league and supported the teams through funding for uniforms. That also goes towards us and the equipment that we need and the field maintenance, because as Matt stated, we do a lot of the maintenance ourselves. Brian said that there's 28 fields throughout Farmington and Farmington Hills. A lot of those that we use are school fields, and they are not well maintained at all. So instead of taking away one of our best fields, put more money into improving the fields at the schools maybe, or the existing field conditions so that maybe our 7th through 9th graders can move on to one of the school fields if it were a bigger size, and that would be we would be able to utilize those fields even more. But I don't agree with taking away one of our best fields in the city. So, thank you.
All right, second last call. All right, seeing, yes, sir.
Where's all this funding coming from that's gonna be destroying these fields and putting in cricket fields? Who's paying for it? I'm just curious.
So the way public comment works is it's not, there's no dialogue.
Okay.
It's essentially, it gives the community an opportunity to present, you know, their feelings about whatever activity's going on with the city council, with planning, with zoning, whatever the case may be.
Something that can be answered.
Correct.
Okay. Just wondering. Okay.
You could ask me after the.
I'll ask you. Okay. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
All right, do we have a motion, seeing that no other requesters, do we have a motion to close public hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing on the 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item, the new number 5, facade review, downtown offices, 33211 Grand River.
Before we do, there's one other thing for the Parks and Rec master plan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the next item would be to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan review and recommendation. So if we want to approve the plan.
Okay.
Approve the plan with changes, or table the plan.
Okay.
And that staff report is in your packet. So I'll read that staff report into the record.
Please.
So based on the review of the Planning Commission of the plan and comments received from the public, administration is requesting the Planning Commission to approve the plan, at least with the edits that were discussed, the 3 items that OHM said they'd like to include in the plan, those being the Warner Mansion concept plan, the addition of the updated Shiawassee access, and 3, the addition of a theater committee to review upgrades to the theater. So with those 3 edits and any others that the planning commission would choose to make. We would like to approve, a motion to approve the plan and forward to city council for their approval at their January 20th meeting.
All right, do we have any comments or questions for staff from commissioners?
Yes, I do have a question.
Please.
How do we take into consideration then all the inputs from the public and the comments that were sent anonymously to maybe have OHM the opportunity to review or make changes, or I'm not sure what the process will be. How do we then take what the public said and possibly make a revision to the Parks and Recreation Plan?
So if there are things that you heard that you want to make changes to, you would direct that as part of your motion. Say,
Well, maybe to review the Drake Park specifically, because it says, I think, in the plan to change one of the ball fields, right? So how many ball fields are there actually? And there are 3. So one of them will be changed to, I'm seeing no, and I'm,
so this plan doesn't say to change one of the
Explore
fields. It says
the
to
change,
explore changing it. So
Okay.
that would require reaching out to the public, reaching out to, we'd reach out to South Farmington and see their utilization. We'd review where other cricket fields are in the neighborhood, or in the general area. And, maybe then a survey would go out to determine utilization. So it'd be a process to figure out whether it's,
okay.
makes
Okay,
sense
so
to
there's
move
still
forward or not.
There's still that
Yes.
opportunity then to incorporate or get more feedback and then review the.
Yes,
review
absolutely.
that
It was not to
specific-
switch the field, it was to make that something to look into, because we had received multiple comments during our open houses suggesting that. So that's why it's on there to evaluate. So,
Okay. Great.
by far, there's not been a decision made to do one thing or another. It's just to examine the possibility.
Because I have a question. Is it, and maybe you could answer it, is it possible, but just considering the turnout in the comments, there seems to be some misunderstanding, miscommunication, or unclarity about what the intent is for this? Because the public comments seem to assume that we're changing, that park is changing and that a cricket field is coming and baseball field is going away. I never heard that in any of our discussions about
Yeah,
the
I have.
plan.
I didn't
So
either,
there's some clarity that needs to be put into whatever was been shared, because
Maybe something we should have mentioned before the public hearing, as they were all here. That could have saved everybody some time.
yeah, but I think everybody came here already misunderstood what's going on.
But they would have been relieved of that concern. So, to my understanding, this is basically just identifying that there's a concern or an interest. Doesn't change anything. It just says that, hey, this is something the community might be interested in. My question is, should we put it on, why is it just on Drake Park if it's the smaller of the parks? Should it be on the Shiawassee Park tab or something else? Because let's explore options. Don't limit it to just that one if that's their favorite field. I didn't know that. Also, if their biggest concern is that it's the only lit field, maybe we should add some more lights. Why isn't that an option?
Or we should add some more fields. That seems to be.
Add more fields. There's a lot of options here, but ultimately it's just identifying that this is something that could be of interest.
Well, I mean,
I
and
don't feel
it's,
that anything needs to change at the moment.
So I guess the word explore is right there, right?
Yeah.
Explore the different options.
right, and it's under Drake Park because if memory serves me, there was 8 responses.
On that one in particular?
Yeah, so, I mean, if you think about it, okay, so potentially 2 families filled out the survey and said, hey, it'd be kind of neat to have a cricket pitch at Drake Park. Okay, that's great. And it's great that we're recognizing the feedback, because a lot of people think that we just sit up here and don't listen to anything or anyone. And they think of that of all of our boards and commissions and things like that. But that's not the case in Farmington. I think we do a pretty good job of recognizing that. So I think it's to echo Ken, I think there was a slight miscommunication by having it on here saying that we are exploring, we're not stating fact of a position that the city is taking. We're just presenting data, 8 feedbacks that we received as part of a survey, essentially. So, and I think it was the 14th, I think it was on the list of responses. I think it was the 14th most popular summarized topic, essentially.
At that public outreach.
I know we weren't here to have a dialogue, but we probably should have had this discussion before everyone left the room.
But that's the thing is, but that's the thing is you never know what's going to come up during public comment, right? Yeah.
Can I add or offer just one thing just to possibly help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the only way that you can actually pursue trust fund dollars is to include all of these ideas in your plan. It doesn't mean that any of them have to be done, but the only way that you can be considered is to include it. So, here, we may have had some, misunderstanding about whether this was a mandate or whether this was, a concept. But I just wanted to reiterate that for whoever's left in the room and then for the Planning Commission, that is really key for all of this. Because obviously funding came up at the end.
Yep.
And that's why you're doing this, is to position yourself so that you can pursue funding. Doesn't mean that it has to be for cricket. It can be for any number of things in the plan.
That is exactly the point that should have been clarified for everyone before they came out here.
Well, and maybe that's something when it goes to the council that, could potentially be reiterated.
Yeah, and clarified,
Okay.
right?
Thank you.
So Chris, do we have an action item on this then?
We would like to see a motion that would approve the plan with whatever the Planning Commission would like to edit and forward it on to City Council for their approval. And the reason we would like that done today, if possible, is because there's a deadline of February 1st to get us into the grant cycle for the upcoming year for the MDNR.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2025 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, updated to include the 3 additional concepts specifically regarding the Civic Theater, Shiawassee Park, and the Warner Mansion, and to forward to the Farmington City Council for their review and final approval.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay. Our new number 5, facade review, downtown offices, 33211 Grand River. Mr. Weber?
This item is a review of a proposed building facade modification to the existing building located at 33211 Grand River. The proposed motion includes renovation of the north facade, modernizing the building's look without expanding the footprint, replacing dated elements, and improving curb appeal in order to support future tenant recruitment. Site plan review is required under Section 35-162, building renovations, modifications to building facade, or other architectural features that do not result in additions to floor area or increased building height. Building facades in the central business district are reviewed for compliance with the standards set forth in Section 35-104 of the zoning ordinance. The applicant, Downtown Offices, has submitted plans prepared by NCS team for the proposed building facade modification. Because this property is located in the Central Business District, the DDA Design Committee has reviewed the plans and recommends approval subject to updated color and compliance calcs. The applicant submitted new plans with the revised colors and compliance calcs, and those plans were reviewed by our planning consultant, OHM, who has prepared a letter, which is in your packet. And the applicant is here today to discuss their project, and then our OHM planning consultant would give an overview of their report for Planning Commission's consideration. So with that, I'd ask the representatives of this project to come forward to the podium.
My name is Joshua Scherzer. I'm with NCS team that prepared the plans, and we work directly with the contractor that would be building out the new facade for the building.
And do you have plans to show on the?
I have the same plans you guys have. Do you want me to bring those up?
Sure.
Okay.
Longer than expected meeting, huh?
Yep.
Is there a HDMI?
Should be on, it might be on the back. All right, so as described, we're not going to be expanding the building at all. It's just remodeling.
Lost the screen.
Plugged in.
Oh.
There we go. It's just going to be the remodeling of the face along Grand River and then the side lot here that you would see coming down Grand River. As of now, it's just going to be an internal white box because the tenant has not been selected yet. So that way it gives the tenant the ability to build out the space according to their needs. So what we'll be doing is removing the older looking awning that is on top and the slimmer windows on the facades and putting in a more modern look, bringing the brick up, copying a metal awning, a thinner metal awning that's on a lot of the buildings in that region, and then also increasing the window size on the facades. So all we're doing is going to be extending the existing brick up and painting it, adding some lighting in between the windows, and then adding more bold feature at the entrance that will be like a gray color out of Drive It, which will look similar to this here. So it's mostly just the painted brick and a white Drive It with the metal awning with the larger windows and more lighting facing Grand River. The rest of the site will remain exactly as is. We're not touching anything. We're not building out. It's just going to be redoing more of the top of the building to make it look more modern and appealing.
And today we have Kristen Hatfield from OHM here to review her planning letter.
Hi, everyone. Just getting over the flu. I'm not contagious, but that's why I sound like a crib fever. It's nice to meet all of you. I'm going to be taking over for Adriana Jordan, so I'll be your planning consultant. Look forward to working with all of you. And you'll be happy to know after the long meeting you've already had, I don't talk that much. So I did a review of the facade standards, yes.
The mic.
Yeah.
Is the mic on?
Is the mic on?
Can you hear me? Okay. I reviewed the facade renderings as proposed in the site plan against your ordinance. I found that they comply with all the standards. In addition, the DDA Design Committee has also reviewed and recommended approval. The only conditions or notes that I had in my review is that if there's any rooftop mechanical equipment, it should be properly screened, but it didn't look like there was any. Just wanted to note that. That the window needs to be clear glass, and that you bring building materials or color samples to the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
That's our review. Does anyone have questions for me?
So do we have samples of the building materials?
We don't have any, it's just paint. All it is the existing brick painted the gray color. It's a Sherwin-Williams dovetail gray, and the Drive It, which is painted a Sherwin-Williams white, pure white.
Were you going to provide samples at some point?
When they go to build it, we can, if you wanted the samples. I wasn't sure I could bring in a brick and a piece of Drive It. I didn't know if that's
Yeah,
what
I
you
think
wanted to see
that's
here.
what we were looking for, is the piece of painting of what you're gonna.
Okay.
Where it was gonna be.
Okay, no, I don't have those with me today, no. We called them out on the plans. I wasn't sure exactly when you said provide samples. It was a brick and drive it, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was exactly the reason.
Okay.
That's to see the
A brick
paint,
with the gray
to see
paint.
what the thing looks like, to see the paint
Okay.
color and to see a piece of the paint and the
Okay, that was maybe my misunderstanding then.
color samples. That's what.
Okay.
I mean, we're seeing it in the rendering, and you're saying it's the brick color painted, and then it's a white drive it, and then the illustration doesn't look white. It's like it's an off-white, creamy color. I know there's a
Looks
screen.
weird on that TV.
Yeah, the screen is kind of acting up, but
Yeah.
you see the kind of the reason why we want to see the color sample.
Yeah.
So there's no tenant yet?
There's currently no tenant, no.
Is
It's,
there a dentist in there, or are they in the back side?
there's I believe it's an insurance agency. They moved into the back.
Dentist in the back, okay.
Is it okay.
Any other comments for the petitioner, questions?
So seeing that we did not have the opportunity to review the external material and paint, I would like to make a motion to table the approval of this, the facade change, and schedule it for the next meeting or whenever you have the opportunity to present the materials to the Planning Commission.
Okay.
I support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, our new number 6, special land use, public hearing, make a change wellness, 23629 Liberty Street.
Make a Change Wellness is proposing to locate their mental health and social work practice in the building located at 23629 Liberty Street. The social work practice is centered on providing accessible, community-focused mental health and wellness services to children and adolescent teens. Attached to this report is background information about Make a Change Wellness for the Commission's review. This property is zoned office service. Medical, dental, office use, and professional office service establishments are a special land use in this district, requiring Planning Commission approval. The special land use was noticed to the public in the Oakland Press as required. The procedures for a special land use typically require a site plan to be submitted. However, there are no proposed changes to the existing site at this time. Future renovations are planned in 2026. These renovations will be reviewed by the building official and, if necessary, be brought to the Planning Commission for approval. The applicant is here to present their project to the commission, and after the applicant discusses their project, OHM is here to provide their special land use report, so.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Ali Bazi. I am the owner of Make a Change Wellness. So similar to what Mr. Weber was saying, we're looking at social work services for adolescents and early children, looking at depression, trauma, anything, and really what they need in terms of helping them grow. I know we've worked with facilities such as public schools. I know in the area there are about 16 buildings, if I'm not mistaken, within Farmington, so helping them out. We know during a public education, it's 8-hour day, really not enough that can be given, especially attention to a child. So that's where we come in as supplemental support. So that's what we're looking to do. No innovations just yet. We will more than likely have to submit it to the Planning Commission because we're going to do a complete overhaul on the inside. I know the city currently rents at the facility, and we're going to continue to allow the rent up until the renovations. Then we'll figure something out between us and the city. But we'd be more than happy to have you back once the renovations are over. Probably more secure than it is now. I believe they're a voting material that's in there now, or voting machines, if I'm not mistaken. And so once the renovations are complete, obviously you will continue to have the room there, probably even secured even more. Any questions?
Any questions from commissioners? From staff?
Yeah, I guess you're taking over the entire building?
Correct. During the renovation period. Right now, it's rented out.
But you're doing a special land use, and you're gonna start utilizing some of it?
Correct, exactly. The first floor will be mine.
So initially just part of the building, but eventually you're gonna do the whole building?
So we're going to renovate the whole building. We will only need the first floor, and then the second floor is going to be rented out as offices.
Okay.
To the attorneys.
It's the same law office that's in there currently?
Yes, Tom. I'm not sure if you know.
If it pleases the commission, the planning consultant OHM could discuss their report on the subject.
Yep, please.
We did a review of the special land use request. The property is just shy of a quarter acre and is located on Liberty Street, directly across the street from the municipal building. It's an existing two-story structure with multiple tenants, as the applicant stated. When reviewing a special land use request, there are general standards in the zoning ordinance, and we reviewed the request against all 5 of the general standards. They're outlined in the letter, so I'm not going to go over them, but our finding was that the applicant met all 5 criteria for the special land use. We made a recommendation for approval with some conditions. One was that the applicant clarify ownership of the parcel. That was a note in the letter. I saw that on one of your applications, like you were in the process of purchasing it.
Right.
Just to clarify the ownership of the parcel, submit a site plan within 12 months to comply with the special land use application process.
Absolutely.
Those were our comments. I'd be happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you.
And then before making a decision on this, there needs to be a public hearing. So you'd open the public hearing, ask for any public comment, close the public hearing, and then make a decision.
Okay, unless I'll give one last chance if there's any questions for the petitioner or staff beforehand. It looks like a bunch of those. Do we have a motion to open public hearing?
Motion to open public hearing on to make a change wellness, 23629 Liberty Street.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now open. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns from the public? Once, going twice. Jeff, you got anything back there? I shouldn't have said anything.
Every use except municipal use in that zoning district requires special land use, no matter who wants to do anything. It's very unique.
We'll let you off the hook because you're not talking into the microphone. Seeing no other public, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who made the motion and support?
That was, Dan made the motion, and I heard multiple seconds.
Wait.
I'll take this.
We'll give Dwayne that one. All right, good?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any, seeing that we closed public hearing, do we have any follow-up comments, questions, concerns for staff, petitioners, OHM? If not, I believe we could do a motion if we so see fit.
Yeah, this is quite the motion. Do we have to read this entire portion and
Yes.
this? Like the two and,
Just the
So for special land use,
Yeah.
since that case law came out last year, Platt versus Northville, we really need to read all the facts, standards, and your supporting facts into the motion. That's why I said that. So
all right.
you have a set of
Sorry.
standards that I put together and passed out to you with OHM's comments under each standard.
Would it be easier just to change the ordinance?
You're terrible.
I was trying to find a way to shorten it.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Motion to approve the special land use application and site plan review for Make a Change Wellness for the use of existing offices for a business medical office for the building located at 23629 Liberty Street, located in the OS Office Service District. This motion is based upon the following findings of fact. Regarding the zoning ordinance section 35-152, standards for approval of special land use. The project is compatible with the goals, objectives, and policies of the City of Farmington Master Plan. The proposed use for the medical business office for the purpose of providing community-focused mental health and wellness services to children and adolescent teens in the existing office space is compatible with the objective of increasing commercial opportunities in the city of Farmington. 2, the project will promote the intent of the zoning district in which the use is proposed. The intent of the O office and OS office service district is to encourage the office uses of a business and professional nature. The office service district in particular serves as a transitional area between the residential and commercial districts, or as a buffer between the residential neighborhoods and arterial roadways. In this case, the subject parcel will provide an office use that is professional in nature while also serving as a transitional area between residential and commercial, and providing a buffer between residential neighborhoods and arterial roads. Number 3, the project will be constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be compatible with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, and so as not to change the essential character of the area in which it is proposed. The property has been used for professional services in the past, and as such will not change the essential character in the area which it is proposed. The parking demands will be unaffected. Number 4, the project will be served adequately by public facilities and services such as traffic operations along streets, police and fire protection, drainage structures, water and sewage facilities, and primary and secondary schools. The existing office building is adequately served by public services, and the proposed medical/business use will not affect its needs. traffic patterns will be unaffected. Number 5, project will not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, or equipment or condition of operation that, in comparison to permitted uses in the district, will be detrimental to the natural environment, public health, safety, or welfare by reason of excess production of traffic, noise, smoke, odor, or other nuisance. We find no indication that the special land use would have a negative impact on the above items through the excessive production of traffic, noise, or etc. This motion is subject to the following conditions. Sorry, make sure I get this right. Subject to bringing any site deficiencies of the up to current standards as identified by the building official. Subject to review and approval of the final interior, exterior plans by the building official when any changes to the building are proposed.
Can we add 2 more to that? As included in the OHM's letter, that the site plan submittal requirements.
My screen went to sleep here.
That the applicant must clarify ownership of the parcel, which I think he's already given us the.
Also, yeah, clarify ownership of the parcel, and submit for site plan approval within the next, was it 12 months?
12 months. It'll be probably in 6 months. And for the property affidavit, it was actually, after the sale, it was actually accidentally sent to Farmington Hills. So I brought it last week, so it should be cleared up in terms of the name and ownership, if it hasn't already.
Well done. Okay, motion made.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you in 6 months. Thank you.
Dan made the motion, who supported?
Dan made the motion, I supported. Yeah.
Try to be mindful so we don't get too carried away on you, Chris. All right, good?
Good.
Okay, the new number 8, site plan approval for First Baptist Church of Farmington, 33400 Shiawassee. Mr. Weber?
The First Baptist Church of Farmington is proposing a modification to the southwest corner of the building, including a small addition to the existing vestibule and a barrier-free ramp to improve access to the building and to allow caskets to safely be maneuvered in and out during funerals. This building is located in the Historic District and therefore subject to Historical Commission review and comment. At the Historic Commission's December 17th, 2025 meeting, the Historical Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the plan. Site plan review is required under Section 35-162, building renovations, modifications to building facade, or other architectural features that do not result in additions to floor area or increased building height. Section 35-53 of the city zoning ordinance sets the requirements for non-residential design requirements, and that is attached to your packet. The applicant has submitted plans prepared by Wakely Associates Incorporated, architects for the proposed building facade modification, and will be at tonight's meeting to review the proposed building facade modification with the commission. The plans for the modification have been reviewed by the building official and the site elements, and no issues have been identified. So with that, I'd ask representatives to come forward to the podium and discuss their plan, and we'll get you hooked up. Nice to meet you too.
Already up. Perfect.
Hello, nice to meet you all. My name is Dan Waters with Wakely Associates Architects. To my left, I have Joe White, and to my right is Tyler Waters, my son. So we were approached by Jim and the church staff a little while ago with 2 major problems, as you heard. As morbid as the one sounds, they've had trouble with caskets. Currently, the building is not ADA compliant, So obviously caskets are heavy at times, and it's difficult for people to traverse the stairs going up and down. So that was one of our problems to deal with. And the other one was some of the parishioners have actually fallen going up the stairs to get into the church. I think recently, actually, just before the holiday, they had a lady fall. So what we did is we created a small addition that you see here. It's just this little box here. It's just shy of 250 square feet. What that does is there's a ramp that comes up from the parking lot, which is back here. There's an ADA ramp that comes up here. So this is a plaza. We tried to make it inviting. So as you're walking down the sidewalk, it is open and welcoming to the church, and there's another secondary stair.
Could we get you the microphone?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Microphone.
Let me recap real quick what I said.
Please.
Okay, so what we did, again, the parking lot is back here. We have an aerial site plan that you can see, which is right here. So, actually, let me do this one. This is better. The parking is back here. So we created a ramp that comes up along the sidewalk, the existing sidewalk, to a plaza, and then elevated this whole area to the finished floor. So now when you walk in up the ramp, you can come up the stairs here or the stairs here as well, and then you walk into the main level. And this whole area is now at the same elevation as the sanctuary itself. So if I go back to that drawing that I showed you, so this whole area you see here crosshatched, currently right now is not at the elevation of the existing sanctuary. So we're doing some structural work to raise all that. So this entire area is all at one level now for them. In addition to that, we went ahead and put in a platform lift, which allows the parishioners to get up and down to the basement where their social hall is, and then bring them back up to that level. As far as the exterior, I have a rendering here that you just saw. Oops, sorry, wrong program. So our intent is to use all the same materials, again, being in the historic area. We're matching the existing brick. I tried to have it today for you, but the brick manufacturer had to have time to make a actual board itself. But everything is going to be the same. We're using the same white, the same metal, same soffit. Everything is going to match is the intent. So we're not planning on altering any of the materials themselves. As far as we tried to comply to the zoning as much as we could on the small piece of property that we have. So we are adding a couple trees out in the boulevard that you see here, which are here and here. And then we also screened the condenser, the new air conditioning condenser with some arborvitaes in the back there. That's all I have. Any questions?
Is it? Sorry, just the second stair. Where is that in this plan?
So we actually have three means of
And then
entry.
you have the
into-
ramp, and then there's
Ramp.
the stair at the angle, and then there's another stair.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
So if you're walking down the sidewalk, you can enter here, or we thought when we originally designed it, we squared that off, and in conversation with the church, we thought it would be more inviting to people if we cut that and 45'd it and put another set of stairs to invite people in.
That was my other comment. My OCD's kicking in because the stair and the door don't align.
I know, I struggled with that myself. Jim will tell you.
So my eyes are hurting from looking at that.
Quick question. So you mentioned it's in the historic district. Does the building have any historic significance itself?
The original church itself does, the white. Jim, you would know better than me. Here it is. Yeah, there it goes, in the
original
background there.
The white on the right side,
That's
okay. All right, I'm just thinking about the Secretary of Interior standards, and if you're not supposed to match the historic building, but complement it, make sure it's different. So your new addition is matching the other addition, right? Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
No other angle is going to work on those stairs.
Let it go, Ken.
I tried. We tried a single stair, a double stair, the problem is the building itself is not a true square. So that's what screws it up.
Let's just move the street.
There you go.
All right, if we have no other comments or questions thank you very much, you guys. Thank you. For the petition, do we have a motion?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the building facade modifications for 33400 Shiawassee Road, First Baptist Church of Farmington, because the proposed modifications to the southwest corner of the building, including a small addition to the existing vestibule and a barrier-free ramp to improve the access to the building, meet the requirements of Section 35-53 of the zoning ordinance.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Item number 6 on tonight's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Did we schedule the public hearing for the master plan and downtown master plan?
Yeah, I believe that was the
with the
March
recreation.
March
Did
9th?
did we make a motion for the March?
Yeah, it's March.
March 9th,
I
yeah.
believe it was the
Oh, okay.
9th. Yeah.
Okay, just,
I was with the recreation plan.
Yeah. Yep. It was with the recreation plan.
but this was the,
They're both together.
this is just the master plan, though. Oh, the Parks and Recreation master plan, it's different from the actual.
Well, the public hearing, Chris, unless I'm misunderstanding this, the public hearing was to cover both the master plan, which includes the Parks and Recreation.
We just had the Parks and
I think
Recreation one.
what's F on the agenda as well, I don't think we've scheduled. No. I mean the,
We scheduled a public hearing for the master plan. Miriam, you did that, Dan supported.
right, okay.
And then Jennifer asked to amend the motion to add the 43-day period.
Got it, okay.
We did.
And then the Parks and Rec plan was separate.
Yep, okay, thanks. Sorry for the confusion.
Not a problem.
Made me think.
We had a juicy agenda tonight. Well done, everybody. Item number 6, update on current development projects around town. Mr. Weber?
Spent for this evening.
Covered them all.
Oh, I will say this, that Legion Square we
Yeah.
received their final paperwork today, their letter of credit that allows them to proceed, and they're staging on site and getting busy tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I saw equipment started showing up, yeah. Yep.
Nothing like January construction.
Then maybe Jeff can concur. I believe the Domino's is opening.
The Domino's is, they're gonna have their sign put up, and Domino's is gonna open on the west end of town. The Shell station.
I'm going to step up to the microphone, Jeff, because I know they're going to come flying out of that room, I promise you.
The Domino's got a C of O on Friday, I think, to open. They don't have their sign up, so they probably won't open without a sign. We have had a couple of small businesses get occupancy permits. There was a place for cold cuts on Orchard Lake Road. I don't know if you had told them about, it's called like Chutery or something like that. It's next door to the little Chinese restaurant and the party store and back there.
Okay.
And there was we've had quite a few more of the condos be finished and receive final inspections at Hillside. And you heard the public hearing this evening for the facade modification on the insurance building. The insurance company that was there forever,
Yeah.
I guess like, really long, They have moved into the back, they remodeled the back of the building, and they've moved in there. And I heard somebody say a dentist. Yes, there is a dentist there. I don't know that they're going to be leaving with this modification. I think they've basically taken the old insurance office space, and that's what they're trying to open up with the windows and what have you, so it becomes more of a street frontage retail operation. Believe it or not, and they had no outside modifications. You probably don't know, but the Dogwood, which is now owned by someone else on 9 Mile, has
surgical
spent
center,
a
right?
lot of money in there, and they're almost done. And I mean a couple of $1 million over a 2-year period. It's really a fancy place, high-tech animal hospital. And I think that the car wash opened, as you know, and I think that's, the gas station. The gas station at the far end of town came to us and said, can we just put back what we had? So naturally, we allowed them to do that. They had to pull out the piping that they had put in, what the state of Michigan allowed them to do, and they're going to be repouring the pump islands with just the original 2 pumps that they've already had.
This is what was a Valero station at the end of Orchard Lake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going back to the very original plan. Well, they were trying to get their concrete poured before it got cold. I don't know if that happened. I wasn't there today. I was there on Friday. So that's I think that's all the new development at this time.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 7. I think we ran out of public to comment. Item number 8, public Planning Commission comments. Does anybody have any comments or questions? I'll open it up to staff as well. A pretty healthy docket, so we obviously, being a part of the Planning Commission, I commend you all for all the efforts that goes into keeping the ship afloat. So tonight was a good example of it too. So thanks very much.
Commend staff the support that can turn a yes or a no into 2.5 pages. Gotta appreciate that skill.
Absolutely. All right. Any other comments or questions before we pull the plug here? All right. Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Good night.